what a trip I just had, and I have to get right into it with you. This just happened not more than, about 20, no, more like 10, 15 minutes ago. 10 or 15 minutes ago, I had a pretty amazing experience. Now, most of my experiences are short. This was short, like most of my experiences, but I did something that I wouldn't normally do. And wow. If I ever questioned whether this was really happening, my God. So anyway, let me get right into the experience. As always, I was up late studying Spanish, just trying to relax my mind, chill out. I had actually taken a nap earlier in the evening yesterday, and I guess I ended up just staying up. And then once I do that, I will usually sit and study Spanish, and then eventually I will go to bed. And I didn't go to bed actually until the sun was coming up actually this morning. That's when I finally shut my eyes, and I was tired, but I wasn't overly tired, by the way. I think I'm kind of going through this for those of you who are curious. There are those of you who are listening to this that are trying to do astral projection, and I kind of try to give you sort of an insight on what I do, and maybe it will help you. It is my whole thing that I do. It is my, all the stuff that I do. Maybe it will assist you in some way. I don't know, but I will tell you, I napped yesterday. I went to sleep kind of early, and I got up and then I stayed up most of the night, and then I decided to go to bed or to go to sleep for a little while. Now, I didn't know, obviously, that it was going to happen. I usually don't expect that this happens when it happens many, many times. I mean, I'm always open to the possibility, and that's important, but I never push it. And this is why I always tell you, if you are attempting to do astral projection, to not push it. Don't push things. Just let it come. It usually does. If you just relax, it'll come to you if you put the intent out there. Anyway, so I just laid down, and again, I'll tell you what I had in the background. I had those storm sounds on. Those seem to be very helpful to me. A natural thing. There's no binaural beats or anything going on like folks talk about sometimes. For me, just having storm sounds in the background seems to work. I don't know. And so I was lying there for a while, and I was thinking, well, I don't know if this is gonna happen or not, whatever. I just kind of went, I'm just gonna maybe sit and go to sleep. And it's so interesting how it comes on, because sometimes I tell you that it feels like a wave of energy that's coming, like a wave of energy, and I'm a surfer and I'm getting ready to ride that wave, but it isn't always like that. It is not always like that. This morning, it was just very subtle. I could feel that in-between state when it came on. So that's one thing, I could feel it. And then I could feel a force, as if someone were pulling me off of my bed. Now again, when I say I feel this, I literally mean I'm feeling this. I don't think this is actually happening to my body. This is the way I'm interpreting it when it's happening. I feel a force moving me off my bed, and then it almost feels as if I'm going to fall. And sometimes I do fall. I fall right off. That's the feeling I get. But that's not what is actually happening. And I believe that this is some sort of navigation system that the expanded part of me has developed in order to move from one place to another. Now, this was a very short trip, extremely short. I think I was felt that force pull me off my bed, and then I came down, and the first thing I remember, was, you're gonna guess it, a cartoon was playing on a television. This television was an old style tube television. For those of us in my generation, I'm in my 50s, will remember the fact that there were televisions that were, I guess they were tube televisions. They're not like the flat screens are now with the digital. This was just looked like an old style television, and it seemed to be up on a closet of some sort. It was up high. At least that was my perception. Perhaps I was seeing it as a child, and so I thought maybe it was up. Now I'm just kind of going through my mind and thinking about it now, thinking, well, maybe that was the case. It seemed that it was perched high on something. That's all I will tell you at this point. And to my perception, I thought it was up on a closet or something like that, and it was playing a cartoon. That is what I was thinking. So I started moving, and as I started moving, I felt like I was opening my eyes more and more. The darkness was coming out. So at first I could just see the cartoon, whatever the cartoon was playing. I don't remember much about the cartoon. It was just some cartoon. I did not recognize this. I did not recognize this cartoon. And honestly, I'm not sure if the volume was up or not. I think if it was, if I can recall correctly, the language was definitely different. It was not English. I don't know what language it was. So as I walked, the second thing I noticed was that this apartment, and I believe it was an apartment that I was in, was quite cluttered. There was a lot of furniture and a lot of other things that were kind of around. It felt to me sort of Eastern European. I don't know why I'm saying that, but so for some reason that comes to mind to me. One of the first things I saw as I walked in this very cluttered apartment, and I in my mind, I thought, okay, when I come back, I always think this. I always think about this for you guys. I always think I want to make sure I remember things because I want to bring them back to you for you. And I'm trying to remember, or I'm trying to find a way to remember things easily, and a way to try and maybe use words in my mind to bring things back for me. And the first thing I remember, or the second big thing I remember, was a burgundy wall. This wall was red, but to my mind, and I Googled it, I wanted to make sure there's all kinds of different shades of red. This wall was like burgundy red. I remember that. I was like, wow, this is an interesting color. I just kind of studied it, and I kept walking, and there was something cooking in the kitchen. I could hear it. It sounded like a crock pot. I went into the kitchen, and there was a crock pot, and it was cooking. Now, this is the part that I don't think I've ever really tried this before. I've done different things. I've picked things up. I've held things. I've touched things just to see how they felt. But I've never actually smelled something. So this crock pot, it looked like there was some sort of, I don't know, I could tell there was beef or something in there, some sort of beef stew. And you could see the stuff bubbling up. You could see steam coming out. I remember that there was steam rising up out of this crock pot. So I opened the crock pot and I took a whiff, And man, let me tell you something. This smelled good. I don't know who the cook was, but oh, it smelled so good. I took it in and I remembered, oh, it smelled so good. Whoever this was a great cook. And it is the first time I have ever smelled something in a different reality before. So I have to tell you that. That was so cool to smell something. I don't know if I can compare it to something though. I just know it smelled good, and I know I could smell it. I could smell it when I took the top off, the lid off. And as I was smelling it, I heard something sort of in the background. I think someone was coming up. So I immediately put the lid down and I just started walking away, running. Actually, I was moving as fast as I could. I was like, oh my God, there's somebody in here. They're gonna see that I'm in here and maybe they're gonna scream. Something that I think I've kind of expressed to you in the past is that being outside is one thing, but when I enter a reality and I'm in somebody's house, I am always on guard and always very nervous because, I mean, who wouldn't be? You know, if you're in a stranger's house, what if the person comes out and says, how in the universe did you get into my house? And I mean, I'm not thinking to myself, I'm in some version of myself walking around. I'm thinking I'm me and I'm in somebody's house and I'm trespassing. So that's the first thought that's in my mind. So I'm going towards the door. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could hear a woman's voice. I could hear a woman's voice. Maybe there were other kids with this woman, but I know I could hear a woman's voice. I could hear her speaking, but again, she was speaking in a language I did not recognize. I don't know if that version of me maybe recognized it. I know that it did not make sense to me. I'd never heard a language like it, and I can't really tell you what the language compared to, but moments later, you could guess it because I was so nervous. I was pulled back, lost my grip, was pulled back into this reality and opened my eyes and came to my computer. And now I'm telling you what happened. Anyway, comment. I'd love to know what you think. I know it was a brief experience, but very interesting to me. I did actually smell something in another place, in another universe, I guess. How interesting. And how amazingly blessed I am to be able to do what I do. Thank you so much for coming on another journey with me. And until next time, take care.